Hi, everyone. Welcome to First and North. My name is Luke Canellis. Joining me this week on First and North. Let's bring in the crew. From Fox Detroit, Jennifer Hammond. From Fox Milwaukee, Tim Van Voren. And from Fox Minneapolis, Pierre Nugent is back. Good to see you, Pierre. It's been a few weeks. Football will be played this
Good
week,
to be back.
Thursday in Canton, Ohio, between the Chargers and Lions. All right, I want to start with Detroit. Jennifer, I know practice has been really intense. Multiple reports of players kicked out and stopping practices. What are we going to expect on Thursday night? Are they going to bring it in a preseason game?
You know, I don't know that they will because there are not going to be very many starters out there. But the interesting thing about these Detroit Lions practices that we've seen thus far is, you know, Dan Campbell will stop and tell guys that they're going a little too hard. This was prior to putting on the pads, maybe some really hard hits from Brian Branch and a couple of the other DBs fighting hard to obviously prove themselves in camp, especially under Calvin Shepard, who's a really fiery kind of guy. But deep down, I think Dan Campbell absolutely loves this. I mean, short of the risk of injury, he wants to protect his guys. Make no mistake about that. But I think he loves to see these guys getting chippy, going at it. They are personifying the grit that he's preaching. And it's not just on defense, it's on offense as well. There's trash talking. There's guys, you know, showing each other up in practice. And it is going to be the kind of season where iron sharpens iron, as they say in practice. And I think they're going to get more out of these preseason these practices and training camp scrimmages than they may even out of a preseason game against the Chargers on Thursday night down in Canton.
Speaking of guys on offense, Amon-Ra St. Brown addressed the chippiness in practice.
I feel like every year it's chippy. I think that's just the kind of the Detroit way. When you compete like this and coach lets you compete and you're going live and you're doing all this stuff, when you got competitors like us, I think sometimes that chippiness just comes out. But it's all love at the end of the day. We all know we're trying to reach that end goal. We're teammates. But I think it's just training camp. You know, once the season starts, I mean, you're giving each other looks. You're trying to make each other better, prepare each other for the game. So just training camp, that's how it goes. Just us competing.
All right, I want to bring in Tim Van Voren, who's been in Green Bay. Tim, I read that Nate Hobbs was told to dial things back a little bit. Little healthy competition never hurt anyone, right?
Absolutely right. Nate Hobbs got the business from Matt LaFleur, and then even more on Tuesday with the pads out there. Several players getting in it. Rasheed Walker, the offensive lineman, was forced to take a disciplinary lap afterwards, and then he was joined by some of his offensive mates because they were getting into it a little too much for Matt LaFleur's liking. And like Jennifer in Detroit, I think Matt LaFleur is saying, tisk, tisk, what are you going to do about it? You know, I think it's one of those coaching deals this time of year. Matt LaFleur's got a little salt in his vocabulary anyway, but he was digging pretty deep, laying into his guys, kind of setting the tone for getting everybody going here. They have their family night scrimmage coming up at the end of the week. That's what's going on with the Packers schedule, and there's a little dysfunction in the family right now. Everybody's sniping at each other.
We haven't seen any chippiness yet with Ben Johnson, but I'll get to the Bears in a second. Pierre, let me bring you in. Pierre Nugent and Minneapolis. Justin Jefferson, hamstring strain last Friday. Anything we should be worried about?
As of right now, Lou, no, you shouldn't really have to worry about much, and that's according to the Vikings head coach, Kevin O'Connell. He was the one that came out and said the hamstring strain is, quote, mild. It's not something that they're particularly worried about, and furthermore, it's not something that they're worried about in terms of him being out in week one. The expectation is to ramp him back up as training camp continues to roll on. He's scheduled to be reevaluated this week. We haven't seen him back out on the practice field just yet, but this is not something that they're terribly concerned about. A couple of years ago, we saw Justin Jefferson miss a number of games with a right hamstring strain, and it was eventually found out that it was a slight tear. This week, it's a left hamstring strain, but again, like I said, it's a little bit more on the mild side, and they're not all that worried about him being ramped up and ready to go when week one rolls around.
Jefferson also preached patience with quarterback J.J. McCarthy.
You definitely have to have patience. You know, he's pretty much a rookie. You know, last year pretty much doesn't count for him. So he's still new to the scheme, new to coming out here and throwing it to these different receivers. So yes, you have to have that patience. You're not really expected to him to have the same mindset as a veteran. You can't really have that expectation from him. But we do have an expectation of him being great, him coming out here every single day and working his butt off and progressing every single day. And we do see that progression just on the second day of camp.
All right, Pierre, 6 camps in, 6 practices at camp. Excuse me, how's McCarthy look so far?
Well, I think, Lou, it depends on who you ask. If you ask certain members of Bears fans on social media that like to point out video from last year, he's the worst quarterback in the entire world. But if you ask me and some of the others that have been out there at training camp this year, he looks comfortable. That's the word I'm going to use, comfortable. And that's one of the things that was a positive about him missing all of last year is he was in the film room every single day. He was on the hip of Kevin O'Connell every single day, learning this offense, figuring things out. And I think that year really gave him a little bit of breathing room in terms of understanding this offense. And even though the Vikings defense out at training camp, I would say is a step ahead of the Vikings offense currently, it doesn't seem to bother J.J. McCarthy. We've seen him hit a couple of deep shots. He's making good throws, seems to be patient in the pocket as well, even though he has been sacked a couple of times during training camp. But comfortable is the word I'm going to use with J.J. McCarthy. I think everybody likes his progression and where he's at right now. We'll see if it translates into game action when the preseason rolls around.
Don't go after us, Bears fans. We like to look at video from last year and judge J.J. this year. Here in Chicago, offense struggled the first few days of camp. It was really not good. Wait till you hear what ESPN's Dan Orlovsky said about Caleb's timeline in Ben Johnson's offense.
Being elite while you're playing within the rhythm of the pass game. And that's the hiccup that has always been Caleb's back at OU, then to USC, and then to his rookie year. And that's the challenge.
Is it fixable? Like, how do you fix that?
Of course it's fixable. But for Chicago fans, it is not going to happen in September. He has to erase a decade worth of playing a certain style of football and rebuild the habits. It is going to take, candidly, years.
Now, I'm not sure it's going to take years. Now, here's Jared Goff's first season under Ben Johnson. Over 4,400 yards, 6th in the NFL, 29-7 touchdown to interception ratio. That led the NFL. And a 99.3 passer rating, which ranks 7th. But, this is a big but, too, guys. Goff had 5 seasons with the Rams, went to the Super Bowl with Sean McVay before he went to the Lions. Johnson has openly said that Williams can do things that Goff just can't do. And despite the struggles from Williams, Johnson does see growth with this quarterback.
I probably just see growth. He is so much more comfortable right now, even yesterday, the walkthrough yesterday, just in terms of moving around. We go from gun to under to the tight ends are moving, the receivers are moving. We're adding a few more every single day. And so I think his process, and I told him this on the player day off, his process is really clean right now. I'm talking about how he's preparing. I'm really pleased with it. He's doing the work behind the scenes that no one else is seeing, and we're starting to see the dividends being paid from it.
Well, certainly, what that he does see is the ability to scramble, and that's one thing that Jared Goff hasn't been able to do. He starts to run just a little bit now and kind of flexes his ability to scramble. But I do think that Caleb will ease into it. But like you said, it's not going to happen overnight, Lou. It's going to take them a good long while to get things going. And they're all learning a new offense simultaneously. So it's not just the quarterback. It's every single position on that field that's kind of learning under fire here.
Jen, I had this discussion with a woman actually who I didn't even know. I said, it's going to be a slow start for Caleb Williams this season. If you're asking me, and she was asking me, she did not want to hear it. She is expecting big things out of Ben Johnson and Caleb Williams in Game 1 against the Minnesota Vikings. And I told her if they get off to a 1-4, 1-5 start, she shouldn't be surprised. She actually grabbed her towel and left. She'd not want to be in my presence anymore. She was so disgusted by my honesty. I want to go to Green Bay now.
Can't be negative.
Yes.
Can't be negative.
Can't. Tim, has Brandon McManus missed a field goal yet? I haven't seen him miss one.
He has not. Nope, he has not. The Packers had kicking struggles for several seasons. They signed Brandon McManus last year, mid-season, when he was cleared of an investigation in the NFL, and he has been rock solid ever since. He missed just a couple last season, and he's been perfect so far in camp this year. They don't even have another kicker in camp right now. They have a kicker on the roster, but he's not even there. So they're just using the Jugs gun for kickoffs, the Jugs machine for kickoffs, and McManus is practicing his field goals. He's making all of them.
Yeah, you got to take care of him. There was an Elkin Jenkins sighting at camp. Is that what I'm told? Practice for the first time Monday, making the switch to center while waiting for a new contract. Are the Packers focused on this contract? What do you think?
You summed it up perfectly for him, Lou. A little bit of practice work this week finally, and he is awaiting a new contract, hoping for a new contract. He's shifting from guard to center. He's had 2 contracts in the NFL. You know, you want that third one. He wants a little bit of security there if he could get that. He's an important member of the offensive line. The Packers have a lot of players. They have a first-round draft choice last year and a second-round draft choice this year who don't even project to be starters this year. So they have a lot of depth there, but the center spot is critical. Moving Jenkins in there and developing some rapport with Jordan Love would be important. You know, you talk about what kind of start these teams are going to have. The Packers have Detroit to open the regular season. 4 days later, they have Washington. Both those games are at Lambeau Field. Packers only have 8 home games this year. If you don't get off to a good start against those 2 NFC powers at home, you're looking way uphill, and the Packers are aware of that.
Jen, you're awfully feisty today. I mean, you're jumping on everyone's discussion. Tell me why.
We were in pads today, and it was the first scrimmage, and things got a little bit heated there. So I'm a little bit fired up. And to listen to Dan Campbell talk and to watch these players go every day. When they came off the field today, Graham Glasgow, who actually was taking the center reps the last couple of practices as they moved Tate Ratledge to right guard, he was wringing out his gloves. They were loaded with sweat. So there are guys just working their tails off. This is a team that is feisty, that is hungry, in the image of their head coach, and they've absolutely been going at it hard ever since they put the pads on. This team, and even before they put the pads on, this team has been not hitting, but getting very physical and very aggressive, and it's really fun to see because usually training camp is kind of boring and you don't really get to see much action and get a glimpse of what guys are going to look like, but we have seen some amazing performances from guys like Terrion Arnold and Jamison Williams. And also, Hutch looks fantastic. I mean, it is really fun to watch this Lions team in training camp. A
feisty Jen Hammond, not good for Dan Miller. No wonder Miller isn't on the show
today. It's no good. I chased Dan out of here. I chased him out.
I love it. We need to take a timeout when we come back here on First and North. Mark Murphy officially passes the torch, and we will see more of the Vikings viral celebration dancing after inking 1.5. One half, that is, not 1.5, one half of that duo. It all comes your way next, right here on First and North.
Major League Baseball on Fox.
What I'm doing, getting right to it. The money is talking, I'm flowing, it's coming in just how I do it.
Oh my goodness! Major League Baseball all season long on Fox.
Welcome back to First and North. Lou Canellis with you at our Fox 32 studios in Chicago. Jennifer Hammond is at Fox in Detroit. Tim Van Voren, you folks know him in Milwaukee, and Pierre Nugent is in Fox Minneapolis right now. Tim, Packers President CEO Mark Murphy officially passed the torch to Ed Policy. Murphy's last day on the job, last Friday.
I'm just so thankful that, you know, the tremendous run that I've had, and, you know, to be able to interact with the fans the way that I have. It's, you know, it's a little bittersweet. I mean, obviously I'm very appreciative, but I'm also, you know, I feel honored too that, you know, the fans have been so supportive, you know, of me and the organization. But really excited, too, for the future of the organization and, you know, for Ed in particular.
Boy, we remember Murphy when he was at Northwestern here in Chicago. What a great guy. What a great job he did with the Wildcats and their athletic department. My question for you, are the Packers a better run organization now thanks to Murphy, Tim?
Well, he came in and did a masterful job once he got his arms around things, Lou. And, we should point out he's stepping away now because the Packer bylaws mandate that he do so when he turns 70 years old. I think he would keep going if he had the choice. He still has a lot of vim and vigor. The business side for the NFL and the Packers is just thriving. The Packers have the Titletown district right near their stadium. That was largely Mark Murphy's idea, then executed by Ed Policy. And, of course, the NFL draft this year coming to Green Bay was kind of a shot out of nowhere, and then being as successful as it was, that was really a perfect swan song for Mark Murphy. So as you look at how he leaves the organization in very good shape, he came in, they had the snafu of kind of what you're going to do with Brett Favre, is he going to retire or not? That's when Mark Murphy started with Green Bay. As he leaves, the ship is sailing a lot more smoothly.
All right, one person that is not leaving is Viking safety Josh Metellus, signed a 3-year, $42 million contract extension. What do you think, Pierre? You like the move? And what viral dance videos are we going to see now next season?
Boy, I can't wait to see what dances are in place and coming up here in next season for Josh Metellus. We're all certainly excited to see that. But yeah, if I had the opportunity to speak to Josh's agent, Drew Rosenhaus, I would love to ask him how he was able to negotiate this contract, because it's interesting. He's listed as a safety, but he takes snaps at safety, slot corner, linebacker, defensive line. We've seen him all over the field. He's a very unique talent in the sense that he is a Swiss Army knife type player. He even tweeted out less than an hour ago that if you don't think I'm the most versatile player in the NFL, you're not watching very many Vikings games. So there's a lot of confidence on Josh Metellus' side. I think it's a great move. He's a team captain. He's a guy everybody respects in the locker room. A former 6th-round draft pick who has had to fight, scratch, and claw for everything he's gotten in this league. So I think it's a tremendous move for the Vikings, not just on the field, but in the locker room as well. It's well-deserved for Josh Metellus.
Yeah, I agree. Jen, many would tab Alex Anzalone as the heartbeat of that Lions defense. Just returned to practice, set out a couple of workouts. Are the Lions going to show Anzalone the money?
Well, they may show him some money. I don't know if it's the money that he wants. At 32 years of age, he certainly has been a leader for this team. He's been a captain throughout his time in the Motor City, and he's led the team in tackles. Alex Anzalone, make no mistake, is really the heartbeat of that defense. But at the same time, with his age and some of the other metrics of guys around the league, he may not be demanding that top-tier money, and he may have to take a little bit less. It doesn't look like at this point in time the Lions are going to do anything to extend him. They've got so many other young, talented guys that they need to pay next year. I mean, it is going to get to be a pretty interesting situation here in the Motor City in 2026. So they can't dole out a lot more money than Alex Anzalone really deserves, because he is, like I said, just a little bit on the tail end of his career at the age of 32.
All right, we have no contract issues here between players and the front office. Everyone is happy. Everyone is in camp, including a couple of Bears rookies. You know, rookies usually have a tough time getting acclimated to the NFL. Well, good news. Tight end Colston Loveland, their first-round pick, drafted number 10. Wide receiver Luther Burden, both practiced for the first time since their offseason injuries. This started on Monday. They were at practice. Loveland, honestly, man, this guy has the build and glides when he's going through his running routes. He looks like a big wide receiver. He does not look like a tight end, that's for sure. And he also showed that he can pass block. He takes great pride in that, not just run block, but pass block as well. Great football instincts. His receiving numbers were down last year at Michigan, but he also didn't have J.J. McCarthy throwing him the football, and we know that Michigan had a quarterback issue last year. Wide receiver Luther Burden, man, this guy finally got on the practice field. It needed to happen now because he missed most of the offseason workouts with a lingering hamstring injury. Ozzie Trapillo, he's in a battle right now for the starting left tackle spot. If you ask me today, you got to go with the veteran Braxton Jones, who has 40 NFL starts. He's coming back from ankle surgery. Shamar Turner, another second-round pick, suffered a sprained ankle, out 4 weeks. My guess, probably going to miss the opener. Undrafted free agent wide receiver J.P. Richardson Remember this name. He's already the darling of training camp. He's been opening up eyes all over the place. Great speed. What I love is his no-fear attitude to catch the football over the middle of the football field. We'll continue to watch Richardson. Pierre, let me bring you back. I know all eyes on J.J. McCarthy. You and Ahmad have said on this show that if they can't protect McCarthy, it's a lost cause. All-pro left tackle Christian Darrisaw had some praise for the rookie. Listen in.
He's a very great player. Just watching him, just coming from Ohio State and being here now, he's a rook, and it's going to take time to learn some things. But from just raw talent, man, he got it. He got it all. And I'm excited just to be here every step of the way with him.
What do you think? Tell me your opinion of the offensive line so far. And I know it's tough to judge when guys aren't wearing pads and no one's really hitting each other.
Yeah, that's fair, Lou, and not everybody is healthy, too. We need to keep in mind Christian Darrisaw is also not a participant in training camp right now. Will Fries is battling his way back from a broken leg last year. He's been in and out of the lineup at training camp, but when they're all healthy, I'm telling you, Lou, this might be the best offensive line the Minnesota Vikings have had in the previous 10 years, at least since I've been here anyway. This is the most promising front five that they have had, and I think it's going to go a long way for J.J. McCarthy's development. But in Donovan Jackson's case, they are all expecting high things from him. They took him in the first round. They want to solidify that left guard position, and they believe he's going to be the guy to do it for the next decade.
All right, let me bring back Tim. All the talk last season, receivers dropping passes in Green Bay. They drafted Matthew Golden, already turning heads at practice. Listen in.
Showcases his ability to catch a football. It's pretty impressive. I mean, he uses his hands, and he's an aggressive catcher of the ball. And then he made some nice ability, or showed the ability to put his foot in the ground and had some good yak. So just it's cool to watch these young guys kind of progress and learn.
But yeah, we think he's got a chance to certainly make an impact for our football team, and I think it's going to be a competitive group. And but again, we took him where we took him for a reason.
Tim, give me 30 seconds. Golden going to make an immediate impact?
I think so. They're trying to get him a little bit of a motion package. They have used that in the past with Jaden Reed, and the guy can run. And if nothing else, you're going to put him on some routes to get him down the field. I think the Packers do have plans for Matthew Golden right out of the box.
Jennifer, 10 seconds. Tate Ratledge, is he going to get some playing time, some snaps Thursday?
He will not get some snaps on Thursday. That is what Dan Campbell said today, but he will definitely see time in a preseason game, likely the following week in Atlanta against the Falcons.
Great. We need to take our final timeout. Last week, Packers got a new locker room, but how about their latest jerseys? I know that my producer's not happy about it, and Luther Burden is ready for week one against the Vikings. Here is his latest message to the Minnesota Vikings and their fans. Comes your way next on First and North.
This is the future of golf. It all starts here. Live Golf on Fox.
This is going to be hot. It'll be a party. Long live golf.
Let's go!
How y'all feeling about the first
Bill with spikes. The LV belt with the leather kind. That's how I'm feeling.
Pierre, let me bring you in. I love Luther Burden, man. He's taking a shot at the Vikings. I've got Burden with a touchdown grab in that September 8th game.
Well, what I would say to that is, rookie, you're going to learn something here probably in a few weeks. You want to put bulletin board up material up for them? That's probably not something you're going to want to do. So if I were you, I would tread lightly, Luther Burden, before you take a first snap as an NFL player. That's a gutsy thing to say.
Oh, I know you're right, and I know Brian Flores is going to post that stuff to for his defense. Our producer, Roger, is an Illinois alum. I don't know if you guys knew this. He has a bone to pick with the Packers, Tim. I want you to check out the new uniforms. Roger says those look awfully familiar. He feels like the Packers have copied what the Illini wore against Michigan last season.
There are some similarities there, Roger, and that's great. But I'll say that the Packers embrace their history like few teams do, and they'll say, sit down, that's nice. We are NFL and football history.
Oh, I love Illinois, man. They're coming off a big season, and they're going to tell the NFL how it's done. Guys, great job. Great show as always. For Tim, Jennifer, and Pierre, I'm Lou Canellis. Thanks for watching. We'll see you all next week here on First the North.